American bombers are destroying Iran's missile stockpiles and destroying the factories that are making the missiles. That means Iran is losing what they have right now, and they're losing the ability to build more. This is exactly why the B-2 Spirit has become Iran's worst nightmare. Let me show you. But first, let's hear from Central Command's Admiral Cooper on exactly how much damage these bombers have done in just the last 72 hours. Take a listen.
We are now starting our 6th day of a historic mission to eliminate Iran's ability to threaten Americans. We are, if I could channel my inner Navy officer, we are at full speed ahead in executing orders given by leadership in Washington. The President and Secretary Hegseth have been crystal clear in their expectations, and we are at a high level of execution. As described by the Secretary and earlier this week by me, U.S. combat power is building as Iranian combat power declines. Our air dominance allows us to hit Iran's center of gravity with overwhelming power and reach. A couple of examples. In just the last 72 hours, America's bomber force has struck nearly 200 targets deep inside of Iran, including around Tehran. And in just the last hour, U.S. B-2 bombers dropped dozens of 2,000-pound penetrator bombs targeting deeply buried ballistic missile launchers. Notably, we've also struck Iran's equivalent of Space Command, which degrades their ability to threaten Americans.
Iran's entire ballistic missile program is being dismantled from production facilities to storage bunkers to everything else that is buried deep underground or hidden in the mountains. The U.S. did this with 3 types of bombers, each with a very specific role. Now, as you may already know, there are 3 strategic bombers: the B-52 Stratofortress, the B-1B Lancer, and the B-2 Spirit. Here's how they were used in sequence, each setting up the next. First, we had B-2 Spirit stealth bombers conducting initial penetration strikes. They slipped through Iranian air defenses undetected and hit the most protected targets first. Then we had B-1B Lancers with high-speed strike missions, basically supersonic attacks on targets that were made possible by the B-2's initial raid. And then we had the B-52s, which conducted heavy sustained bombing, wave after wave, overwhelming whatever defenses remained. That was the playbook. Stealth, speed, volume. The B-52 entered service in 1955. That's 70 years ago. But the Air Force plans on keeping this aircraft flying until the 2050s, just with a newer engine. As of right now, we have 76 aircraft that are still operational. Each has a range of around 8,700 miles, or roughly 14,000 kilometers. Each of these can carry roughly 70,000 pounds of bombs and missiles. And then there's the B-1B Lancer, which entered service in 1986, and we still have around 45 aircraft that are operational today. Each one can carry roughly 75,000 pounds of payload, one of the largest conventional bomb loads of any aircraft in the world. This is exactly why the B-1B brings speed and volume. When it shows up, things get destroyed fast. Now, for the B-2s, we have a special segment from none other than former Navy SEAL Chuck Farrer. But before we get into that, we actually have some footage that might be one of these bombers operating over Iran. No one knows exactly which bomber this is, so maybe you can take a guess and drop it in the comments. Take a look at the clip. Now, a lot of people online think that this is the B-2 Spirit. So let's get into the B-2 Spirit, because this is the bomber that has been Iran's worst nightmare. As I said, we recently had former Navy SEAL squadron leader Chuck Farrer break down the B-2 in detail. The history, the design, the stealth technology, why it costs so much, and what makes it so effective. This segment basically explains why no other country has anything like the B-2 and why Iranian air defenses never saw it coming. Now, before we get into this segment, just a quick request. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button down below. It really helps us reach more people, and it lets us bring in veterans like Chuck who have real experience to share with our audience. So let's get into it.
Coming at you It looks like a UFO or a flying knife. It's not an alien visitor, but the dark, pulsing heart of American power projection. A marvel of engineering that defies radar, shrugs off air defense, and delivers precision hurt out of a clear blue sky. Meet the Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, the stealth bomber, a flying wing that's been haunting enemy skies since its combat debut in the 1990s. Developed in absolute secrecy at Area 51, born from Cold War paranoia and honed in the fires of modern conflict, the B-2 is a testament to what happens when you marry cutting-edge technology with a vital mission set: penetrate, strike, and vanish. So let's peel back the shroud on this enigmatic warbird. Its flight controls, radar-dodging wizardry, electronic warfare chops, and the raw power it brings to the fight. Then we'll walk through its recent battle scars and peek at its successor, the B-21 Raider, lurking just over the horizon and poised to redefine aerial dominance.
The B-2 isn't just an airplane. It's a physics-defying anomaly, a tailless bat-like silhouette with a 172-foot wingspan. It's a flying wing design that traces its lineage back to Jack Northrop's visionary sketches from the 1940s. Without a vertical stabilizer or traditional tail, you'd think this thing would spiral like a drunk bat dropped into a blender. But that's where the specialized flight control systems kick in and take over. The B-2 flies on a quadruplex redundant fly-by-wire system for independent channels of digital magic that keep it stable in the air. Sensors and computers make corrections faster than thought, adjusting 8 trailing edge control surfaces to tame the B-2's inherent aerodynamic instability. Pitch, yaw, roll. It's all handled by a brain trust of processors that would make a megageek lick their chops. The use of specialist semiconductors and bleeding-edge computational equipment works without the usual electromagnetic signatures generated by consumer electronics. The Eye of Sauron can pinpoint your iPhone and laptop even as you watch this video, but it can't track the B-2. The B-2 is an electromagnetic ghost traveling at 0.9 Mach, just under the speed of sound. The real magic happens at low altitude. The B-2's terrain-following radar, integrated into the APQ 181 system, lets it hug the ground at something less than 200 feet while screaming along at 600 miles an hour. It's not flying. That's threading a needle through the combat zone, blasting squirrels out of treetops with jet exhaust and hopping ridgelines to stay below enemy radar horizons. The crew, just 2 pilots, no more, sit in a cockpit that's less about stick and rudder bravado and more about managing a supercomputer with wings. A third crew seat was ditched to save weight, leaving the duo to handle navigation, weapons, and systems via multifunction displays. It's no small task when you're transonic and on the deck on a moonless night. It's a ballet of automation, a symphony of code, hydraulics, and pilot skill. It's why the B-2 can slip through defended airspace and denied areas like it never happened. Stealth isn't just a buzzword for the B-2. It's the whole game. Its radar cross-section is a closely guarded secret. Pentagon insiders peg it at about 0.1 square meters, or about the size of a bumblebee. For context, a B-52's radar cross-section is a barn door at more than 100 square meters. A blip that a SAM battery can lock onto from 100 miles out. So how does the B-2 pull this off? Start with the shape. No sharp edges, no protrusions, just smooth flowing curves that scatter radar waves like a magician's misdirection. The airframe's composite materials, carbon fiber, aerodynamic thermoplastics, and other classified goodies don't just deflect radar, they absorb it. Layer on radar-absorbing materials, a secret sauce of coatings and paints that suck up electromagnetic energy and spit out heat instead of reflections. You've got a strategic strike platform and a flying wraith. The engines, for General Electric F-118S, each cranking out 17,300 pounds of thrust, are buried deep within the wing. Their exhausts vented topside through serpentine ducts to mask heat signatures and muffle noise. Even the blades of the jet turbines are stealthy. Made from single crystals of classified metal alloys, they can take the heat and not reflect radar waves. Antennas retract flush within the skin, and the flaps lock down in stealth mode. Even the paint is dark, anti-reflective gray. It blends into the high-altitude sky at altitudes above 50,000 feet. Maintenance crews treat this bird like a diva. Every scratch or ding gets fixed pronto, lest it compromise the radar cross-section. The result? Enemy air defenders see a flicker, maybe a glitch, but nothing solid enough to lock onto. The stealth bomber is not invisible. It's just irrelevant to the sensors hunting for it. A shadow that slips through the net.